Do you ever wonder what would happen if the NHL just straight up abolished all their rules and it was anything goes out there on the ice? I know one thing, Connor Bedard would be left on a stretcher. I'm kidding. I'm just trying to be that 40-year-old that likes hating on younger players. Players like Tom Wilson, Ryan Reeves will be out there wreaking havoc. Maybe PK Subban will make a comeback just to start slew-footing people left and right. I mean, why did he just randomly start doing that when he was like 32 years old? It would be an absolute wasteland out on the ice, and that is what we're going to do in today's video, as I've removed every single rule from the NHL, so it is anything goes. No offsides, no icing, no penalties. These players can do what they want out on the ice. The only rule is you got to score more than the other team, of course. All right, so here we go. Just like that, we have no icing. We do have injuries on, though. Offside off, of course. Penalties are 0 out of 4. Now, I did up the fighting just so these guys can throw haymakers if they get mad at each other. The penalty time scaling is going to be 0 out of 6 for both of them. The difficulty, I don't really know what to put the difficulty to. I'm going to leave it at pro. I think that might be good. And now for the gameplay sliders, as you can see, 0 out of 100 for every single category of penalty. We will not have the refs making any calls. We pretty much don't even need refs anymore. The only thing they're going to be doing out there is dropping the puck every single face-off. Other than that, though, the zebras are pretty useless. But now it is time to simulate and see what happens in the NHL over the next 5 seasons. How does this affect every single team? Will we have new Stanley Cup winners? We will not know that until the end of the simulation, so let's get right into it. So at the end of year number 1, surprisingly, the Pittsburgh Penguins are going to finish as the best team in the NHL, 107 points, 51 wins, followed by the Colorado Avalanche. Carolina was up there, LA, Tampa Bay, Vancouver, who are actually doing very good in real life. Devils, Nashville, Dallas, Winnipeg at the bottom. Who do we have here? We have the St. Louis Blues, Calgary, Chicago, Philly, Anaheim. San Jose actually had a decent year, 36 wins. They will not get that in real life. Now for scoring, this should be interesting considering the fact that no team are going to get any penalties throughout the entire season. Nathan MacKinnon is going to end up leading the NHL in scoring with 105 points, followed by Mikko Rantanen's 102. Kucherov had 95, Forsberg 93. Braden Point was up there. Josh Morrissey had 87 points. Connor McDavid only 86. Timmy Stu was up there, and Stammer. Now for goals in the NHL, Jason Robertson is going to lead with 47, followed by Tarasenko's 45. Kyle Connor had 43. Matthews is up there. Kaprizov, Cole Caulfield had 42. Ovi only 41. He usually does a lot better in these simulations. For defensemen, I mean, Josh Morrissey dominated, 87 points. Roman Josi at 78. Charlie McAvoy 75, and Victor Hedman 71. Erik Karlsson did not have a great season with Pittsburgh, despite the fact that they were the best team in the NHL, minus 13. That sucks, buddy. For goalies, Tristan Jarry is going to lead in wins with 38, followed by Freddie Anderson's 36, Shesterkin 35, Stuart Skinner 35. What is going on with Freddie Anderson, boys? Is he going to retire? I heard he got like a blood clot or something. I wish him a speedy recovery, though. Now for shutouts, Stuart Skinner is going to lead with 6. Yeah, that would never happen in real life. Vladar had 4, Vasi 4, and Connor Hellebuck 4. And this is what our year 1 playoff matchups look like. Let's go on, simulate, and see who makes the Stanley Cup Finals in year number 1. And in the Stanley Cup Final, we have the Vegas Golden Knights versus the New Jersey Devils. I mean, these are not two hot takes. I can see these teams meeting in the Stanley Cup Final. So let's see who goes on and wins the Stanley Cup in year number 1, Vegas or New Jersey. And in year number 1, Jack Hughes and the New Jersey Devils are going to go on and win the Stanley Cup as they defeat the defending Stanley Cup champion Vegas Golden Knights in Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Final. It was a back and forth series, very tight, but New Jersey is going to come out on top and Vegas is not going back to back. That is right. Screw you, Vegas. Jack Hughes is going to end up taking home the Conn Smythe, 6 goals, 26 points, a very good playoff run by him. I mean, the goal scoring wasn't that great. The fact that he had 20 helpers, I mean, the dude was a playmaker. You want to talk about a playmaker? Now that's a playmaker. And there it is, the Stanley Cup being raised in New Jersey for the first time in a very long time. I believe it was the Martin Brodeur era the last time they won a Stanley Cup. But here is their captain, Nico Hischier, coming to lift the Stanley Cup for the very first time in his NHL career, as the New Jersey Devils are Stanley Cup champions in year number 1. Now, surprisingly, Jesper Bratt is actually going to end up having more goals and more points than Jack Hughes. Actually, he tied for points, but he would have 12 goals, yet he didn't win the Conn Smythe. Kind of weird. Tyler Toffoli was up there with 25, Chandler Stevenson 19, Carlson 19, Barbashev 18, Jack Eichel 17. Nathan MacKinnon is going to take home the Ted Lindsay, Art Ross, and Hart Trophy, while Jason Robertson is going to win the Maurice Richard. The Norris to Josh Morrissey, the Lady Byng to Nathan MacKinnon, and the Conn Smythe, of course, to Jack Hughes. The Vezina is going to go to Freddie Anderson, and the Selke will go to Connor McDavid of the Edmonton Oilers. So at the end of season number 2, the New York Rangers are going to finish as the best team in the NHL, winning 52 games, 109 points, followed by the Dallas Stars, who had 52 wins as well. Minnesota was up there, Florida, Boston, Washington, Vegas. Where are the New Jersey Devils? Were they at the bottom here? Hopefully not. San Jose was the worst team, winning 31 games. I guess New Jersey was like middle of the pack. Why is Toronto finishing as the 26th best team in the entire NHL? Is Austin Matthews, Mitch Marner, and William Nylander power play merchants? Yet again, Nathan MacKinnon is going to lead all skaters in points, this time with 106, followed by Mika Zibanejad's 102. Alex Ovechkin had 100. And that was it for the 100-point scorers. I mean, Jason Robertson had 98, Breadman 97, McDavid 96. And for goals in the NHL, Ovechkin is going to lead with 66 goals at age 38. That is crazy. Followed by Jason Robertson's 47, Kaprizov at 46, Matthews is up there, Zibanejad passed, Draisaitl had 40, Laine had 38. John Carlson is going to lead all defenders in scoring with 85 points, followed by Roman Yossi 82, Charlie McAvoy had 75, Dahlin 73, Brendan Montour at 72. Bob is going to finish with the most wins with 42, followed by Ottinger's 41, Robin Lehner had 40, Shesterkin 39, and for shutouts, it's going to be Ottinger with 6, Markstrom 5, and Robin Lehner 4. And here in year number 2, this is our playoff matchups. Take a look, boys, as we are going to simulate on to the Stanley Cup Finals, of course. And yet again, the Vegas Golden Knights are going to make the Stanley Cup Final. This time, they're up against the Red Wings. All right, it is time to see who goes on and wins the Stanley Cup in year number 2. Vegas or Detroit, who do you got? And the Red Wings are going to upset the Vegas Golden Knights in the Stanley Cup Finals as they absolutely dominate them in 5 games. I mean, it was not even close. They were by far the better team, and yet again, Vegas is going to make the Stanley Cup Final and lose for 2 years in a row. They've actually made 3 straight Stanley Cup Finals, only winning one of them though, as the Red Wings are going to get their very first Stanley Cup also in a long ass time. I mean, I believe the last time was 2008 against the Pittsburgh Penguins, and Alex DeBrincat is going to win the Conn Smythe, 11 goals, 21 points, a very solid playoff run. And there it is, the Stanley Cup being raised in Vegas, but not for the Golden Knights, of course, as here comes their captain Dylan Larkin coming to lift the Stanley Cup for the very first time in his NHL career, as the Detroit Red Wings are Stanley Cup champions in year number 2. Hats off to them, man. I'm happy for Detroit. Now for the playoffs, Jack Eichel is going to lead in goals with 11 and points with 24, followed by Mark Stone's 24. Ovechkin had 22. David Perron was up there, DeBrincat, Marchessault, Barbashev, Chandler Stevenson, and Dylan Larkin. And again, Mac Daddy is going to take home the Ted Lindsay, Art Ross, and Hart Trophy. This time, Ovechkin is going to win the Maurice Richard. The Norris is going to go to Roman Yossi, the Lady Byng to MacKinnon, and of course the Conn Smythe to DeBrincat. The Vezina somehow is going to go to Stuart Skinner, and the Selke will go to, yet again, Connor McDavid of the Edmonton Oilers. I mean, I've truly lost all hope in Stuart Skinner. So the Boston Bruins are going to be the best team in the NHL, winning 59 games, good enough for 122 points, followed by the Carolina Hurricanes. Dallas was up there, Colorado, Calgary, Washington, Detroit. Now at the bottom, who do we have here? We have Chicago, Seattle, LA, Philly, Buffalo, and my sad Edmonton Oilers. Hey, in real life, we are on a 2-game winning streak, so that is a positive. And McDavid bounced back, probably had his best game in the last like 5 or 6 games. Kyle Connor is going to end up leading the entire NHL in not only goal scoring with 46, but points with 100. Followed by Jack Hughes' 98, Forsberg had 93, Matthews 93, Pasta was up there, Kaprizov, Brad Marchand simulated very well, and Timmy Stu, again, another 90-point season. Yeah, last year in real life, 39 goals and 90 points. That's insane for a third-year player. Now for goals, it was going to be a 2-way tie between Kyle Connor and Philip Forsberg. Each had 46 goals apiece. Followed by Draisaitl's 43, Skinner had 40, Jeff Skinner, not Stuart Skinner, of course. Patrick Laine had 40, Matthews 40, Pasta 40, and Burns is going to lead all D-man in scoring with 80 points, followed by Charlie McAvoy 79, Cale Makar had 76, Jake Ottinger is going to lead for wins with 44, followed by Darcy Kemper's 42, Freddie Anderson had 41, Swayman 40, and now for shutouts, Robin Lehner is going to lead with 7. Only 29 wins, but 7 shutouts on the season. Swayman had 5, Skinner 5, Ottinger 5, and Vanacek 5. And again, here is our playoff matchups for year number 3. And in the Stanley Cup Final, we have the Dallas Stars up against the defending champions in the Detroit Red Wings, looking for more as they are yet again in the Stanley Cup Final. I'm honestly very surprised by that, but nonetheless, let's simulate and see who goes on and takes home that Stanley Cup. And the Dallas Stars are going to upset the defending Stanley Cup champions in, I believe, 6 games in the Stanley Cup Final as they go on to win the Stanley Cup for the 2nd time in franchise history. I could be wrong, but I believe they only have 1. Regardless, Dallas gets it done. They do what they could not do last year, and of course in 2020 when they made the Stanley Cup Final. And of course, who else would it be? Jason Robertson going to win that Conn Smythe, 13 goals, 27 points. Here comes the Dallas Stars captain, Dirty Jamie Benn, after going after Zach Hyman, I believe it was. Regardless, none of that matters. He's a Stanley Cup champion, finally getting done what they failed in 2020 and of course last year. But the Dallas Stars in year number 3 are Stanley Cup champions. For the playoffs, Dylan Larkin is actually going to tie for the lead in not only goals with 13, but points with 27, so he was basically on the same level. Joe Pavelski had 25 points, David Perron 23, Jamie Benn actually had a very good playoff run, 12 goals and 21 points. Sagan as well was very good, Backstrom was up there with 20, Blake Coleman 20. Kyle Connor is going to take home the Ted Lindsay, Maurice Richard, Art Ross, and the Hart Trophy. The Norris is going to go to Charlie McAvoy, the Lady Bing to Connor, and of course the Conn Smythe to Robertson. The Vezina to Darcy Kemper, and the Selke will go to yet again Connor McDavid. 3 straight years in a row. Suck on that, haters, saying my man can't play D. He loves playing with the D. Hey, whoa. Now, surprisingly, the Capitals are going to end up finishing as the best team in the NHL, winning 51 games, followed by Colorado, who also won 51 games. Ottawa was up there, Minnesota, Dallas, Vegas, Seattle, and at the bottom, we probably have the same teams: Arizona, Anaheim, Chicago, LA, not simulating very well whatsoever. Boston was down here, only 35 wins on the season. Connor McDavid is going to end up leading all skaters in points with 102, followed by Kaprizov's 100. Nikita Kucherov had 98. Braden Point 97. McKinnon was up there. Draisaitl. Matthew Tkachuk had a good season. Matt Zuccarello had 89 points and 31 goals. Ovechkin had 85. Now, speaking of goals, Kaprizov is going to lead the way with 48. Also, everybody in the comments calling him Kirill the Thrill. You are literally just ripping off Phil the Thrill Kessel, but the Thrill nickname is for Phil the Thrill, not Kirill the Thrill. That's just a lazy way of not making up a new nickname for a player. Alex Ovechkin had 47 goals. Kucherov 44. McKinnon was up there. Matthews. Tomas Hertl had 39. Kuzmenko 37. Seth Jarvis. John Carlson yet again is going to lead all D-man in points, this time with 78, followed by Brent Burns at 72 and Roman Josi 72. Philip Grubauer is going to tie for the most wins with Jacob Markstrom at 39. Vasi at 38. Hellebuck 37. For shutouts in the NHL, Markstrom is going to lead the way with 6, followed by Jake Allen's 4. Binnington had 4. Skinner 3. And here we go. This is our year 4 playoff matchups. And in the Stanley Cup Final, we have a matchup between Connor McDavid and the Edmonton Oilers up against Alexander Ovechkin and the Washington Capitals. This should be a very good Stanley Cup Final, so let's simulate and see who's going home with the Stanley Cup in year number 4. And the Edmonton Oilers are going to go on and dominate the Capitals in 5 games in the Stanley Cup Finals to finally go on and win Leon Draisaitl and Connor McDavid a Stanley Cup with no rules at all in the NHL. Anything goes, of course. And Leon Draisaitl is going to take home the Conn Smythe, 14 goals and 30 points. Definitely the best playoff run so far in the video. I mean, we already know what McDavid and Draisaitl do in the playoffs. If you want to call them power play merchants, make sure you call them playoff merchants as well, as they put up a lot of points in the playoffs. They do their thing, and there it is, the Stanley Cup, baby. Of course, here's the captain, Connor McDavid, the generational talent that he is, lifting the Stanley Cup for the very first time in his NHL career as the Edmonton Oilers are Stanley Cup champions in year number 4. Alexander Ovechkin is going to lead in goals with 18 and 30 points in the playoffs. Draisaitl also had 30 but 14 goals. McDavid had 27 and 10 goals. Kuznetsov was up there. Max Pacioretty was up there as well. Kaprizov is going to take home the Ted Lindsay and the Maurice Richard, while the Art Ross is going to go to Connor McDavid and the Hart as well to Kaprizov. John Carlson is going to win the Norris, the Lady Byng to McDavid, and the Conn Smythe, of course, the Draisaitl, the Vezina to Darcy Kemper, and the Selke will go to yet again Connor McDavid 4 years in a row. So at the end of the final season, the Dallas Stars are going to be the best team in the NHL, winning 50 games, followed by the Colorado Avalanche. New York was up there, Toronto, St. Louis, and Winnipeg. Now at the bottom, who do we have here? We have Philly, Arizona, Seattle, Chicago, and the defending Stanley Cup champion Edmonton Oilers. Only 35 wins. That is very embarrassing. McDavid is going to tie in goals with 51 and lead in points with 99, followed by Jack Eichel's 97. Matthews had 94. Draisaitl was up there, Robertson, Kucherov, Johnny Hockey, Braden Point, and Mitch Marner. Now for goals, Matthews as well is going to tie McDavid at 51. Kyle Connor had 42. Jack Eichel 39. Matt Duchene was up there with 38. Ovi, Kucherov, Blake Wheeler had 36. Erik Karlsson is going to lead all D-man in scoring with 77 points, followed by Cale Makar 75 and John Carlson 75. Jake Oettinger is going to lead in wins with 43, followed by Sorokin's 41, Samsonov 39, Demko 37. Now for shutouts, Igor is going to lead with 6, Sorokin had 5, Allmark 5, and Bob had 4. And here it is, our final playoff bracket of the video. And in the Stanley Cup final, we have the Dallas Stars, who already won a Stanley Cup during the video, and the New York Rangers. So this should be a very heated Stanley Cup final. Let's simulate and see who goes on, and of course who goes home with the Stanley Cup in the 5th and final season of the video. And the New York Rangers are going to go on and win the Stanley Cup as they dominate Dallas in 4 games in the Stanley Cup final. That is right, it was a clean sweep, not even close. Dallas really didn't show up. I guess they didn't want their second Stanley Cup of the video, but the New York Rangers are going to do it, get it done for the very first time since 1990 when they beat the Vancouver Canucks, I think. And Adam Fox is going to take home the Conn Smythe, 5 goals, 19 points. Kind of an impressive playoff run by a defenseman. Of course, the Stanley Cup has to be presented in Madison Square Garden, the most famous arena in all of sports. And here comes their captain, Jacob Trouba, the greatest captain of all time, coming to lift the Stanley Cup for the very first time in his NHL playing career, as the New York Rangers in the 5th and final season are going to go home in the offseason with the Stanley Cup. Artemi Panarin for the entire playoffs is going to lead in points with 20, followed by your mom's Aho, Sebastian Aho, 19. Adam Fox had 19, Kyle Connor, 17, Goodrow, 17. Not a lot of goal scoring going on in the playoffs. Austin Matthews is going to take home the Ted Lindsay. The Maurice Richard is going to go to Matthews and McDavid, of course. The Art Ross to McDavid and the Hart to Matthews. The Norris to Cale Makar, the Lady Byng to McDavid, the Conn Smythe to Adam Fox, the Vezina to Igor Shesterkin, and the Selke is going to go to Connor McDavid 5 years in a row. And that is gonna do it for this video, boys. If you enjoyed it, make sure you leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more just like this. I upload pretty much every second day, so you guys should be getting a lot of content. Also, I go live, so make sure you turn the bell notification on so you don't miss a single live stream. And there you go, boys. We've removed every single rule from the NHL. It was no holds bar, just like the WWE. And I mean, the results were kind of surprising. I mean, Detroit winning it, I definitely did not see that. But Dallas is a pretty good team. Edmonton is a pretty good team in this game. I mean, we're improving in real life. We're not very good right now, but regardless, I would like to say thank you all for watching, and until next time, don't be silly. Wrap your willy.